Mystic Messenger was booming in 2016. This game has over 1 million downloads and is a mainstream dating simulator. Sure, it's not as popular as like Dream Daddy Simulator, but I would say it's still pretty popular for its time. Like if you were a girl in 2016 or 2017, there's a high chance you probably heard about this game. At least if you were a middle schooler in high school, and I was of course one of their millions of users. Since I'm rather confident that not everyone knows Mystic Messenger, let me explain the plot and the game mechanics. You log into the game and you're in a mysterious chat room by a hacker who then gives you some directions to an apartment. You go there and turns out this is an apartment of a party planner named Rika's bitch ass. The hacker then puts you in a chat room where you meet the main love interest, Zen, the rat tail actor, Yu Sung, the man with mommy issues, Jae-hee, the overworked assistant, 707, the depressed meme lord, and finally, Jumin, the great value Mr. Gray. Throughout the 10 days, you have to attend these chat rooms as they pop up at certain times. Your job is to basically email the guests that the characters would suggest, and these emails would just be like a prompt, and you have to click the right prompt for them to come, and then you have 3 prompts to answer. If you fail at any one of those, then they won't come to your party. And then the way you get a certain route is by getting the main character's hearts. The more hearts of a certain character you get, the more likely you are to get their route. And then by day 4, you'll see whose route you've earned. I also want to add that there are several different endings. There's a good ending, a normal ending, and a bad ending. And the good ending is when you do everything right, you get enough people to come to your party, and that is like the canon ending. The normal ending is where you don't have enough people at your party, but you didn't fuck up on the routes. So you get the normal ending if you didn't get enough guests to your party. And then the bad ending is where you just completely fuck up during the route, and then something just goes wrong and you don't even get to go to the party at the end. I used to play Mystic Messenger back when I was in high school, and this was my shit. Like, my friends and I, we used to play this game all the time. We had alarms for the 3 a.m. Chat room login. It was madness. However, that was like a good couple of years ago, and I haven't played Mystic Messenger since. But recently, I got back into the fandom when I saw a new DLC was out, and honestly, I thought this game was no longer getting updated, but I was wrong. So I was a little curious, and I looked at the DLC, and it was for Jumin Han. And Jumin Han was my favorite character. I absolutely adored his character when I was younger. And just like that, I was back into the fandom. I was looking through my old Tumblr, looking at all the stuff I used to share, and I was also looking through Reddit. And that's where I found this very interesting post. This post was written by Hedgehogsdilemmagirl, who gave me the okay to make this video, so shout out to them. Thoughts on Jumin's possessiveness after a 1.5 therapy. I found out about Mystic Messenger 2018. It was my first OTM game, and I started playing it deliberately for Jumin, so among all of the characters in Mystic Messenger, Jumin had been number 1 for me, and I stayed in the fandom mainly because of him for several years. I loved how possessive he was and how he wanted to decide what MC would wear and do as if she was his doll. I didn't understand why there are so many Mystic Messenger fans who cringed at how Jumin didn't let MC leave his house in his route. My logic was that Jumin was hot, the house was great, he would provide everything MC would want, so why would she want to leave? Just stay there and enjoy your time. But then I started therapy at the beginning of 2021, and gradually I started to feel like Jumin isn't a comfortable character for me. I started to question, is it really okay when the other person wants to make decisions for their loved one, and the other one just has to act like an obedient puppet? So I distracted myself from the fandom for some time to sort my thoughts out while continuing my therapy. Then some time ago I came across this thread on Twitter, and the link is unfortunately dead, so I can't show you guys what the thread was. And it struck at how uncomfortable I felt while reading it. I realized that if I was in MC's place and some guy that I've only known for like several days locked me up and acted like this, I would have gone crazy and wanted to run away immediately. For me, it's important to have freedom in what I wear, what hairstyle I choose, and so on. And it's interesting to see how my attitude toward Jumin shifted. I used to see his possessiveness as if it's the greatest love, and I was dreaming about the same relationship, but now I cringe at how Jumin treats MC like an object. I feel that I would have felt suffocated if I were in a situation like that. What are your thoughts on Jumin's way of love? And if you were a longtime fan, have you ever experienced a shift in your attitude towards Mystic Messenger characters? And scrolling through the comments, I think it's kind of interesting to see different sides of the coin. There are some people who agree with the OP, and there's some that just disagree, saying that, well, it's just a game, and it's just some sort of like fantasy, and it's not real. And here are some comments that I thought that really highlights the two differences. I definitely loved Jumin when I first played and didn't really like any of the other characters. I switched over to liking Seven and Zen a lot more because they love you in every route and their flaws never make them abusive to you. And then I saw another one that said, he is pretty creepy, but that's what my yandere kink love. Virtual romance isn't real life romance, so I have no problem with his route as he's not real. And then I saw another comment that wished that they rewrote Jumin's route a little bit better. And another thing that I saw that I personally found pretty interesting, and I saw a comment that actually spoke about Jaehee's route a little bit. And they said in Jaehee's route, which is true, she is Jumin's assistant, and then we find out that she was forced to cut her hair because of Jumin. User was theorizing that maybe he acts this way towards women because of his father. His father was a womanizer. He's like, I'm uncomfortable with women, and so that's why I try to make my assistant look as masculine as possible. And that's one thing I thought was pretty interesting when I was reading through these comments, because I've never thought about that. You know, it's been years since I played it, and looking through these comments and seeing different perspectives and different opinions, I was like, I need to replay this route because it's been years. I don't remember the plot very well. I just remembered it being my favorite. So I was like, I should probably play it again. And I'm pretty sure everyone's like, Kimmy, why the fuck did you play this as a teenager? I seriously don't know. I just thought he was a goofy little guy. And like, now I'm here and I'm looking at all these comments. I'm like, how bad was his route? Because I don't remember. So at the ripe age of 22, I spent 10 days playing this fucking game, and my opinions have shifted quite a bit. Let me just say, the first 6 days were completely fine. To basically sum up what were happening in those 6 days, Jumin's dad was trying to force him into an arranged marriage. Jumin's like, no, I ain't taking this home. And then that's basically the whole plot for like the next 2 days, right? He's just uncomfortable. He doesn't like it. Jaehee, who I previously mentioned was his assistant, suggests that we go over there to make him feel better, right? So we end up going, and then that's when shit just hits the fan, because that's when his cat, Elizabeth III, runs away. And that is just when day 7 takes a fucking hit to the balls. Like, day 7 took the spice of day 6, amped it up, and the creepiness factor to at least 1,000, because I was very uncomfortable playing this game after that. I just wanted to highlight one of my notes from day 7 that I have here that says, at first I thought he wanted me to stay because in the plot, at least the one I remember, there was a
they're bomb.
So I thought, oh shit, that's why he wouldn't let me leave. But no, it's because of the arranged marriage and Jumin's daddy issues. And then I also had at the very bottom, all was good until day 8, not gonna lie. Because like I said, day 6 before and like even day 7, everything was okay. There was nothing weird going on with Jumin. I didn't feel uncomfortable. But then day 8 is where I actively just changed my fucking mind. I have for my notes of day 8, I went from, yeah, Jumin's not bad. He's still, decent. But then I changed my mind once that happened, which is when Elizabeth ran away. And then I had day 8 takes the spice of day 7 to boost that shit to 1,000. And then he's constantly like, I want to lock you up. Let me lock you up. And it's just like, this is what 14-year-old me found attractive. Throughout day 8, he's just like, please don't leave me. Some of my favorite parts, I like how I can just be like, just let me go. Let me go. Day 8, in summary, I want to go home. Which is definitely how I felt playing his route. I was just like, I want to go home. But if you try to go home and you keep begging to go home, that's when you get the fucking bad ending. And that's when you fucking blow up when you go back to the apartment. So it's like they were trying to force you to stay, because if you try to leave, you get the blow up ending, and that's not the fun ending that people liked. It's just, no, it's not going well. And then day 9, there's a part where Jae-hee visits the apartment, and she's like actively trying to get Jumin to come back to work. Jumin's like, bitch, I'm not going. And she comes to the actual dinner party that we're having, and there's a part where I could be like, Jae-hee, save me! And I was fighting every urge in my body to not click that option. But the way he treats Jae-hee just hurts my heart. He's just like, go over there, you dirty assistant. Day 9 is just him not wanting to come back to work, and then Elizabeth is still missing. And then there was some blackmail. We all love a good blackmail. It was just everywhere. Day 9, honestly, I didn't write too many notes about day 9. All I really had was please find Elizabeth soon, because I think this was at the point where I was getting so fed up at the whole, you're staying in my house, you're staying here. And it's just like, my boy, your possessiveness is getting a little old. And then day 10 is when we finally get to go fucking home. And not even at the beginning of the day, we go at the end of the day, I think, or like something like that. And then there's like a part where he's like, I miss you. And it's just like, bro, I don't fucking miss you. The only reason why we were able to go home is because V, who's a different character, who is Jumin's best friend, convinces him to let me go home and take Elizabeth back. But he's still on the verge of not taking Elizabeth back. He was just weird. Like, he had, like, even in this, like, route, right, with Elizabeth III, whatever, he has a weird thing about keeping people locked up because he's scared they're going to run away. And that's what he does with us. And it makes me uncomfortable. We were actively trying to go home. And he's like, no. And then the only way to get the good ending is by feeding into his, like, insecurities and just be like, oh, he's going to do a break soon. It's going to work out, guys. Don't worry about it. Like, no. If I was in this situation, I would have not been like, it's okay, he's gonna be okay soon, I'm just gonna stay here for a couple of more days. I would have been fucking dead. This is like in the fucking horror movies where the girl just dies because of stupid ass reasons, and MC would have been dead. And by the way, before I forget to mention, he's talking about marriage at this point. We met the man for 10 days. We met 10 days ago in game. It's canon. We met 10 days ago, and he's already talking about marriage. It's like, I don't know. I really don't know. And then day 11, we get the party. Yay. He dates us. That's fun. Good ending is where we get married. And that's it. That's the whole freaking plot. Now, the end of his route is like, I got the good ending, because that's the one I want to try for. Because the good ending, in my opinion, is probably the canon ending. So this entire time, it's not even the bad ending, everyone. This is his normal good ending route. We've met the man for 10 days, wants to marry us, wouldn't let us leave the house, and it's just like, Jimin, what the fuck? But somehow, he's still one of the more popular characters. I think Chiritsu was trying to go for the 50 Shades of Grey type of shit, because I think that's what was popular back then. And then, like I said, I think it's crazy that he's one of the more popular characters. People like him because he's not ugly, so he's given the slide, and that's the only reason why he is popular. And to the Jumin Han fangirlies, I am so sorry for what I have said, but he's fucking weird and it's creepy. Like, for the past 10 days, the route was just absolutely wild. I'm so sorry to the Jumin Han fangirlies. When I was younger, I was one of you, but this route was just not good. Like, I would have wished that they rewrote his route and made him less fucking creepy and actually did something with his character instead of, you're not leaving, you're staying here. And like, yeah, he had that little character growth of letting us go, which in my opinion is not even character growth. That's just fucking weird, because V had to tell him. He didn't want to do it. V had to tell him. So there is no character growth. And he was my favorite character. And it's funny because throughout the game, like, there's some parts where I'm, okay, he's not a bad person, not a bad character. But then at other points, I'm like, oh my god, like, what the fuck was going on here? In conclusion, this game was fucking crack. It was literally just crackheaded. I don't know why he was my favorite character. I think it's because of the suit and he was attractive. Because I promise, if he looked fucking butt-ass ugly, no girl would have wanted him. And it's just this weird, creepy obsession thing that's just like, damn, buddy. Like, don't get me wrong. I understand that's a thing. People like that. But for me to be locked up in a house, not go home, I am uncomfortable. And the DLC, which was the one I previously mentioned, was also going off on the bad ending number 2. If you know about Mystic Messenger, you know bad ending number 2 for Jumin. And it was going off of that. And if someone wants me to make a video about that, I will. Like I said, nobody asked me to make this video but me. I wanted to make this video, and I'm so sorry if you're not enjoying this video because it's not something I talk about normally, like Overwatch or Marvel Rivals. So if you're like, Kimmy, what the fuck is this shit? Why are you making this video? I want to make the video because I like to talk about old shit that I am nostalgic for, but I am so sorry for anyone who heard this video and is just in shock. A quick thank you to my members: Wacky, Wakito Woo Woo, aka Wacky number 2, Fruitful, Jerry Rico, Onesie Lightyear, Manny 2062, Faded Visions, and Peace to You Life. If you want to join these amazing peoples as my members and get a shout out, you can always join via YouTube in the description below or on my channel.